Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today I got a little quick project I'm going to be working on. I got that little drill grinder, little seller's drill grinder that I picked up a while back, and I shared with you guys when I was working on that the coolant pump that was on it wasn't going to work out for various reasons. And I ended up acquiring a new coolant pump, which is this one right here. But I need to make a custom tank for this to go into that will kind of mount to the side of the tank that's currently on there. The original pump was mounted on the side, but it had a flange where it bolted directly into the side of that tank. This one here doesn't really have that option, so what I'm going to basically do is make a little sub-tank that bolts on to the side where the other one was, where this pump will be in the same position and really function the same way, but it's just going to have a tank that mounts to the side of the other tank rather than the actual pump mounting to it. So to do this, I basically have had some pieces of steel cut out. I've got a tank designed, and we're going to be welding this thing up and making a little tank, again, to mount onto the side. So let me show you what we got, and we're going to get busy making this project here, making this little part. All right, you can kind of see my pieces and parts here. We've got basically four sides, the top and the bottom, and a little adapter flange here. So basically we'll have a bottom here, the sides will come around this like such. We'll just weld those on there. One of the sides has a square hole in it. This will mount up to the piece on the side, and what I'm going to do is on the outside I'm going to actually weld this in place so that we'll have a little spacer. This will bolt up against the tank, and that way the whole tank won't be flush up against the other tank. I'll have a little bit of space in between there because that is a rough casting, and that way I can get a gasket in this little area here without having anything else interfere. And then the top piece has a hole in it, and it's been designed where it'll just fit right down in there like such, and the pump will fit down in this little tank. Hopefully you can kind of follow what we're doing. Now the challenge is to put all this together. Before I start welding though, I do need to drill some holes. I need to drill some holes in these pieces that match the hole pattern over on the actual piece, and then there's going to be 4 mounting holes in the top of this for the pump to bolt to. And we need to get all that done first before we start welding. So let me get that done. I think I'll start with this one because that's going to be the easy one. And then we'll go grab the dimensions for these 4 holes and get those put on here and put in place as well. When I acquired this welding table, it had a bunch of holes in it. This used to be a table that was for some type of machine was mounted on it. I have no idea what when I got it. But these holes have been so helpful for doing exactly what I'm doing right here. Occasionally you just need to drop something down through your table like this, and works perfect. So I got some transfer punches here, and I believe this is the punch I need. This is just going to allow me to go around and find where I need to drill these holes. So I'm just going to center punch these little areas. Whoop. So now I've got my holes center punched in there where I know where to drill those 4 holes. And that was a 9/32 transfer punch that I was using, which is just a little bit bigger than 1/4 of an inch. I'm sure we use 1/4 inch screws, so I'll probably drill those 9/32. All right, so this is my second piece, and it's got a hole pattern 3 inches by 1 7/8. So let's see, we got that's 3 3/4. I'm just gonna mark the halfway mark, and then we'll do 1.5 inches off of the center. All right, and let's do the same thing this way. We'll find the center. And what did I say, 1 7/8, so that's going to be right there, 11/16. Just transferring my marks. I'm going to make sure that that's correct on the bottom. 3 inches, yep. And we'll transfer our 1 7/8. Confirm this measurement here. That's good enough. All right, I'm going to center punch those, and we'll drill this one out. And basically, I'm going to weld this on the side, and then after I weld it, I'll use the original holes to transfer to the other side. So let me go get these center punched real quick. I'm going to use this little optical center punch. I haven't used this in a while. This is a pretty neat little tool. You've got a piece that you drop down in here, and basically I can look down in there, and it's got a crosshair in it, and I can line that up onto the crosshair of the lines that I've made in the part right there. You pull this one out, you put the center punch in, and that lines that up right on the mark. I'm going to do that for all of these. All right. Now let's go to the drill press, and we'll get all these drilled out on both pieces. Over at the drill press, we got a 9/32 inch drill bit in here, and just go ahead and drill these out now. Going to a vise here to hold these, make it a little bit easier to hold in place. All right. My vise isn't big enough to hold this one. I think I got enough leverage on it though. Biggest thing is when you're going through that bottom, you don't want to you want to go through the bottom slow. You can feel it when it kind of gets there. If not, it might catch and rip around in your hands, and you definitely don't want to do that. You can put pretty good pressure on it until just before you're breaking out the bottom. And like I said, you can usually kind of feel it when it starts to get down there, but just feed real softly and it won't grab, at least not as likely to grab. put a countersink in here, and we'll just deburr these. So I think I'll put this up here just to kind of get it closer to the part there. Go ahead and deburr this one while we're at it. All right, I think we are ready to start welding here. I'm going to try TIG welding this, I think. I'm going to start by just kind of tacking everything together. I'm going to start with this plate on that's going to build up here. I'm just going to tack it around in a couple places and probably go ahead and drill these holes out. That looks like it's lined up pretty good. Let me come in here and tack this in place. Just going to hit it in the corners. All right, that'll hold it in place. I'm gonna go drill these out all the way through. I'll be right back and we'll get together, get started on actually welding this up. All right, I got this set up over here in a Fireballs Tool Company Mega Square. And I got the side, this is the side that we just welded that little piece on, and I got at the bottom in here. And I just want to get these welded in square with one another, just tacked together right now. I'm just going to tack it in a couple places. We're going to weld it on the outside, but I'm going to tack it on the inside just because it's going to be easier to do that right here. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. We'll just tack it in a couple places. One tack. All right, that'll be good for right this minute. And I'm going to flip it around and we'll get another side going here. All right, here we go. Some more tacking. All right, I put a little weld prep on this top piece. It'll fit up here in the top. I want to go ahead and kind of get it tacked in place. And then we can weld this together. I'm just going to tack that in the corners there. All right, so we got our basic block here. That's kind of what I'm after. In retrospect, I wish that I had made two of my panels a little bit wider so that they could have been more flush with the outside. I got a little gap in there I'm going to have to fill in on some of these, but I think we can do it all right. It'll be fine. Just have to fill it in. I'm going to go just put this over on the machine and just make sure it's going to fit right. Let's test this out real quick. So that'll drop down in there. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I like that. So that's going to work. Like I said, I'm going to take this back there and just check it on the machine to make sure everything's going to go, and then we can weld this thing up. All right, I'm ready to start really welding this up now, and I'm going to be TIG welding, just mainly because I want to practice. This would be a good chance to practice. I could MIG weld this a lot faster, I'm sure, and do just as good, but I really just want to TIG weld it, so that's what we're going to do. And I got it set over here on a couple of my mega squares where my seam is up, and anyway, we're just going to come in here and see if we can weld this up. All right, I am by no means an expert TIG welder, but I'm happy with that. That looks good for me. All right, we're gonna flip it around and we'll do the next side here. All right, side 2 down. Now it gets more challenging. I got a big gap on this side. Let's see how I handle the challenge. Very happy with that. It did better than I thought it would. Got another big gap on this one. All right. That has so far come out pretty good. I'm happy with the results. All right, now for the bottom. I did kind of bevel in a little bit of this on that inside piece. Probably not going to take as much filler rod on this one as we were on those outside pieces, but let's see if we can do it. All right, once again, I'm happy with that. You professional TIG welders may not agree, but I'm happy with it. All right, let's do the top here. That is hot. All right, last little bit is to weld this little tab on the front all the way around. So we'll go around and do it. And with that, I think we're done. I'm gonna let that cool down and we'll take a closer look at it. All right, well this has cooled down, so let's take a look at it. I'm happy with this. I mean, again, I'm not a professional TIG welder. Not gonna claim to be, but I'm very happy with how that all turned out. I think what I will do is go over to my belt sander. I just want to make sure like this surface is flat. I don't have any little edges up here. I can feel a couple little places that probably need to be sanded down. Same in the top. I got that plate that needs, or that piece that needs to fit down on this. I'll just make all this flush. I'm not going to do a lot of sanding. I'll probably hit the sides just to knock any, the high spots off, but nothing major. Here's the bottom. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So that ought to work good. Let me go clean it up a little bit, dress it up on the belt sander, and we'll check it out, make sure it's going to work like it's supposed to. Oh yeah, and get my hand down there, tighten up bolts. I was worried about that. Well, a couple minutes on the belt sander and just kind of sanded down the corners and smoothed it up a little bit. It looks good. Let's go see what it's going to look like on the machine. I think it's going to look great. I'm over here at the seller's drill grinder now, and you can see this is the coolant tank, and originally there was a coolant pump that just bolted right to this. It looked very similar to this one, but instead of having the bottom that's a suction on there, that basically the bottom went down into this little housing, and the coolant pump just kind of set up from it like that. Very similar. Couldn't find anything that had this type of side discharge on it, so again, the idea here is we're just going to put a little tank over here and mount this on there. So I'm just going to take a couple of screws and just kind of tighten this in by hand. All right, that's just finger tight. And the pump, of course, will just drop right down in this top here, and it'll bolt in place. We'll probably have to, I'm not going to be able to get my hand up underneath there to put a nut on the bottom. I'm going to have to come up with something there to screw these down with, but we can work that out. But there you go. I mean, that's generally the gist of it right there. We have a discharge that probably actually go on there about like this. We'll come out with our discharge. I'll have to replumb all this in where it can go into the coolant system. We're going to be doing some rewiring here, so we'll get our wiring coming out and going over to a switch. But yeah, that should work. And the nice thing about this little side tank here is that this tank here, The discharge is probably about, I don't know, that's probably a good 2.5 inches from the bottom where it goes into this tank, and then it actually drops back down again. And what that will allow is that your heavy stuff that comes through your drain will actually settle in the bottom of this tank, and you should only have cleaner coolant going over into this tank. That should help keep you from pumping grit, although this pump is supposed to be rated for pumping a little bit of grit. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean. So anyway, yeah, this is going to work good. I think my game plan right now is I'm going to take this back off. I'm just going to prime it, get it kind of ready for some paint. And I think I've decided that probably sometime in here in the next couple of months after the first of the year, when I get a couple other projects knocked out, I'm going to tear this down and go ahead and do a rebuild on it. It doesn't need a whole lot, mainly just clean it up, give it a new paint job. We'll see about bearings. I know there's a couple little small repairs that we've talked about before that need to be done to it, but I really want to get it, cleaned up and looking good. And yeah, I think that's the game plan. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it back off and get ready for that. But this is gonna work out just perfect. I like how it turned out. Well, there we go. One little fabrication project down, one little coolant tank made. Happy with how that turned out again. And yeah, looking forward to getting that machine back there restored and back up and running. And this is one little step closer to having that done. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thumbs up, comments, greatly appreciated. Really helps out with the algorithms on YouTube. Big, huge thank you to everybody who supports the site financially through Patreon and PayPal. There's links for that down in the description below if you want to help out. It really does make a difference around here. Enables me to take the time to shape these videos and shoot these videos and edit them and everything else that goes along with it. And with that, guys, I'm going to get out of here, get to work on something else, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Again, as always, thanks for watching.